Hey everyone, excited to be back for this week's edition of Frequently Asked Questions for Commercial Real Estate, coming to you live from Argentina. I'm actually here visiting my brother, who's currently living here, and I'm also here with my wife to travel around. We just recently got back from Patagonia, and it's been a beautiful experience so far. Looking forward to rounding out the trip over the next few days. But again, I've made a commitment to you guys, and I'm looking forward to delivering some value this fine morning. So in today's video, what we're going to go ahead and do is talk about a concept that has kind of resonated with me for a long period of time. And it's something that was taught to me many, many years ago from a variety of different mentors in my life. But the concept itself is to get comfortable with being uncomfortable. So in today's video, we're going to explain what that exactly means. And then we're going to share some strategies that you can leverage to be able to manifest that in your own life. Now, before I dive into this video, I'd greatly appreciate if you can like and subscribe to this channel. It really does make a difference in the YouTube algorithm, ensures more and more people can hear this message and learn about the many facets of commercial real estate. So now you've done that, go and like and subscribe below. Let's go ahead and dive into this episode. All right, so the concept that we're going to share today is one that references to get comfortable with being uncomfortable. So what does that mean? It means that whenever you're going to be attempting something new or attempting something that's difficult, you're going to be uncomfortable. And in order for you to be able to overcome or supersede that uncomfortable feeling, you have to continually do it over and over and over again until it becomes comfortable. And then once it becomes comfortable, then you need to put yourself in a position to where you're uncomfortable again to continually grow and expand in your life and your career. And so in today's video, we're going to share some of the strategies that you can pursue if you are a commercial real estate professional to kind of put yourself in those positions so that come 5 years, 10 years, 20 years down the line, you're thankful because you've done things you need to do in order to maximize your career in the commercial real estate space. So to start off, the number one thing you need to consider doing is to put yourself out there. So by put yourself out there, I mean a variety of different things. So we'll start off on 1A, 1B, 1C. So number one, especially if you're new to the business, starting off is prospecting or physically meeting with people. I'm a big fan of canvassing as well. So that involves going down the list of individuals who own commercial property and reaching out to them and trying to see if they're either interested in selling, buying, leasing commercial property. On the canvassing side, that means getting out there, physically shaking hands with people when you go into their place of business and solicit the same, have the same question. Or if you have something nearby that you're looking to lease or buy or sell, then you obviously could share that with them as well and kind of build that conversation and build that rapport with them. And both canvassing and prospecting can be uncomfortable when you first do it. I can tell you many times I've been dreading having to do so, but it is an important piece of the puzzle when it comes to commercial real estate and is really part of the blocking and tackling of brokerage. So it's something you should definitely do on a day-to-day to be able to improve your business over time. So that's number 1A. Number 1B is social media, but not necessarily social media in the sense of, just engaging in social media and being a consumer of it, but being a content creator. And I've had a lot of people reach out to me and ask about, starting a channel or YouTube channel or, being more engaging on social media and the struggles that they face. And that is part of the struggle and the process you need to follow that, is part of that being comfortable with being uncomfortable. A lot of people are scared of being judged by the things that they put out there. But in reality, when you first start doing anything, in particular on the social media side, no one's really going to be watching it anyway. So it really doesn't matter what you put out there. Granted, you don't want to put anything out there that is fake or not truthful. But in the sense of quality of content, it's not going to be as important as you start when you start actually creating more and more and more content and becoming more recognized in the space. And so I would just encourage you guys to get out there, start pushing stuff out there. If you guys don't have a lot of content to share, a day in the life is always very helpful content for people. So just kind of showcase the things you're doing on a day to day and create YouTube channel, maybe do some shorts, TikToks, whatever that is, to kind of continually get the engines turning in that proper direction. And so that's number 1A or B, I should say, just create and be active on social media from a content generation standpoint, not a consumer standpoint. And then on the 1C side, blog and writing, I'm a big writer myself. I've written 7 books, and I'm working on my 8th book right now. I think it's a unique value proposition in that not only do you create value for others that read and engage with your content, but you also become a more effective communicator and writer yourself. So I would encourage you guys to consider incorporating some form of writing into your day-to-day, or maybe even once a week, or whatever that schedule or cadence is. But I do believe that it really does make a difference in your ability to communicate effectively with people, and the way that you just come up with words and structure sentences to be able to effectively convey messages to not only yourself and others, but also, your clients. I mean, anyone. So I definitely encourage people to consider doing that, because it is a very important piece of our business, is communication. So those are kind of the first characteristics of putting yourself out there. Number two recommendation that I have for people is to take on leadership positions, or to develop leadership experience. Being a leader oftentimes is difficult. It's kind of lonely, as they say at the top. But in reality, what it comes down to is it flexes your decision-making process and allows you to make decisions with limited information. And oftentimes you have to deal with the consequences of those decisions. And as an individual contributor on a team, you do have consequences, of course, but not to the extent you do when you are leading the team and you're responsible for everything that team is ultimately supposed to be doing. And so I would highly encourage you guys to consider taking on leadership positions. If you're younger in your career and you don't have those opportunities yet in your career to lead a team, I would highly encourage you guys to consider joining a board. I've been on several different boards. I'm a leader, a president of one board that I'm a part of, and now I've become into the leadership of another board. It does provide you with the unique opportunity to be able to, take on those leadership responsibilities, flex those leadership muscles, but also build relationships with people on those boards that it could ultimately pay dividends to you long term as well. So those are just some of the recommendations I have. But leadership is an important piece of anyone's career. You don't necessarily have to be the president of or CEO of a large organization. There's a lot of different ways that you can take on leadership responsibility and be able to flex that muscle so you to become a more efficient and effective leader yourself. So that's number two, is to take on leadership positions. And then finally, number three, you want to put yourself in positions to win. So what do I mean by this? I mean that you need to be constantly looking for ways to be able to add value to others, such that you yourself can benefit in the long run as well. I've several friends of mine who are content creators as well. They constantly preach this, where they, if you find an opportunity for someone, for example, and it's a really good opportunity, and you have a buyer client of yours that is interested in buying that opportunity, having the conversation with them and saying, hey, is it possible for me to kind of roll in my commission, or roll in, additional capital to be able to take advantage of this particular opportunity? Sometimes asking that question can be kind of an uncomfortable thing, because you feel like you're not contributing to that person in that regard. But always ask if that's a possibility, because you'd be surprised how many people would be receptive to something like that. Because if you're able to get additional capital infusion into a deal, it could really sometimes make the deal work. And so I often encourage people, if you do have an opportunity that is a significant one, that's could potentially be a great deal for someone, and you have a buyer that's willing to buy it, consider asking them if you're willing to, if they could roll in the commission in the deal to be able to get a small ownership stake within the property. Because if you do that over a period of time, you can actually have quite a significant improvement in your net worth, which is pretty awesome. Number two is development. This can be something that's kind of scary. I'm actually working on my first development right now. Very excited about the prospect and the opportunity, but again, there's a lot of unknowns in the development process. And so it is quite a bit of a learning curve. And, as a result, it can be a very uncomfortable situation. But the best way to be able to do that is to surround yourself with the experts that have already gone through the process quite a bit of times, and can actually aid you in the process of being able to, secure the proper zoning if you need land entitlements, to work through the development process as far as construction is concerned. From an architect standpoint, what type of things you need to consider on that end, and engineering. So all these different team members are going to be in your corner, and don't be afraid to ask questions. Continue to educate yourself. Sit down with them, even if even if it seems like it'd be a little bit of a burden on them. I always ask, like, hey, can I take an hour and sit down with you and just kind of work through a few things? And most of the time they're receptive, in particular if you are compensating them for their time. So don't be afraid to ask questions. Don't be afraid to educate yourself. Consider taking courses in different disciplines to kind of get a better understanding of what you're trying to pursue. And over time, you'll become much more comfortable in that environment. And that's ultimately the goal, is to be uncomfortable and then ultimately get comfortable and then force yourself to be uncomfortable again. So hopefully you gain some value from this video. I try to share some general ideas of things you can do to put yourself in a position to be successful over a long period of time. If you yourself are looking for commercial property in the Louisville metro area, feel free to give me a call. My number is 502-536-7315, or you can reach me via email at Raphael@grisantigroup.com. Along with that, if you guys like this channel, please like and subscribe. It does make a huge impact in our ability to reach a broader audience, and we would greatly appreciate the support. So thanks again for tuning in, and we'll see you all next time.